on, everybody? Welcome to the East Coast Red and Gold podcast of Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, who is inactive tonight, and your girl Bex. It is Wednesday, November 13th. What's going on, Faithful?
What's going on? Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. It's a good day. It's a good day.
So how about you, Becca?
Can't complain, that's for sure.
All right. Well, before we get started, if you guys need Niners gear, go to faithfulgear209.com and get your custom-made Niners gear made for the faithful by the faithful. All right. So let's first talk a little Demo. I don't know if you guys heard. He was extended.
Yay.
5 years, $92 million was extended last night. And that's a good thing. I was actually shocked to see it come across my timeline, not because it's Amador Lenore, but because it was done in season. And it didn't have to wait until the off season, although they were trying to do things right after the Super Bowl. It didn't pan out, and talks ramped up a couple weeks ago, and here we are. So what do you guys think, Becca?
Oh, I think it's a huge win for us. He's been playing, better and better year over year. He's one of our top guys, and I think he's going to be that next guy. He's playing that well, and eventually he's going to be the number one guy on the team for us. And he's excited. He's happy. He was crying tears, and so you can't ask for anything more than that. You've got a guy who wants to be on the team. The team loves you, and you work to get something done. I think it's great for everybody all the way around. So yeah.
Yes, McNiner, we are locked in.
That's right. We are locked in always. Yeah. Super pumped to see the Amador Lenore signing. He's one of our favorite DBs. We talked about it in the offseason that he needs to be signed. And he did an interview in the offseason where he talked about that they were working on some type of extension. So he was just waiting to see what would happen, but his extension got overshadowed by the whole BA news and drama. It seemed like everyone just focused on that. So they were working on some things, and we know how the contracts talks work. First they're happening, then they're not. So it's good to see that they continued it, kept it going, like, hey, let's try to get something going, and they signed him. For us fans, makes us happy. It's one less worry, one less thing to talk about during the offseason, right? And for him, for the team, it's great because we lock up a young player that has proven he is the guy. He deserves to be here. He has earned an extension, and we're good to go for another 5 years. We're solid. So I'm extremely happy that they got it done. And he's a draft pick, remember. Like, he's homegrown, and we love to see those homegrown guys stay.
I was at that draft. It's the Trey Lance year.
Oh, nice.
Cleveland.
There's a lot of stats that they're out there for Demo, but this one I actually I really like. This is from Jeff Deeney. His favorite stat, Demo Lenore has allowed a passer rating of just 48.5 in his career during the postseason.
That's phenomenal.
That's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Alberto says, I say next year he'll be top 5.
Shit, who says he isn't top 5
now?
Yeah,
I was going to say, he kind of is now. He's playing well.
Imagine if he just played on the outside. I think he'd be talked about a whole lot more than he already is. But because he moves inside, in nickel situations, he kind of gets lost in the sauce with the top DBs. But we know how valuable he is.
Yeah, I think he's definitely viewed as underrated. For sure. My question, though, is what does this mean for Mooney Ward?
Well, I think depends on next year, but I think we still keep Mooney Ward next year. Maybe what's left in his contract?
I think this is
He's
it.
free. Yeah.
At the end of this one, I think they
Right.
try to
Yeah.
slide him for another year if they can hold on to him. I think they'll definitely try to and draft somebody else or sign somebody else. But I think we try to keep Mooney Ward around.
Yeah.
I would like to see Mooney Ward back. Although it kind of seems like it's looking more and more like Demo and Renardo Green.
Well, yeah, because they're both under contract for the next,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. So,
Right.
and Mooney Ward, we know he is a darn good player. There are some teams out there that need a cornerback who may be willing to offer him, as much as he might want. Certain bad teams who like to overpay players, it could happen. So it's a situation of, I can see this easily playing out of, hey, we have this contract. We would love for you to stay. Let's try to work it out. Meanwhile, a team in, I don't know, Florida, Denver, somewhere is like, hey, we'll give you top dollar to come. What you gonna do? So it's one of those things. And like we always say, you can't pay everybody.
Yeah.
So what can you do? But I think they'll try to work it
agree
out.
with Alberto, though. I think he may be willing to take a little pay cut there, or hold, take a shorter contract to stay. Because I think, when teams come to the Niners, they always talk about the culture and what a difference and how well the team treats them. And it does entice some people to stay. Look, Juice could have gone anywhere and stayed. Well, it happens.
And it's not even taking a pay cut. It's like taking an average value salary, right? A lot of guys hit contract year and they're like, oh, I want to be paid like the top guys all of a sudden. Everybody wants this huge pay bump, but everybody can't get a huge pay bump. And we've seen players stay here, with an average salary for their position instead of going somewhere and trying to get a huge paycheck because they love the culture so much, as you mentioned, Rebecca. So it can definitely play out that way.
And you guys talk about culture, and with Kyle and John, for so long, for them to sustain like the culture that they have. I mean, they're obviously doing something right, and then you have the people that are fire John, fire Kyle. I had to bring it up because it's, I
Those
still kind
people.
of see those lingering. Yeah. I mean, especially if the end of the season doesn't work out the way, we all expect it to. I mean, those people are going to, come out again.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the Debo Tabor Pepper situation. Now it being squashed. Was that an appropriate thing that happened, Ty?
Inappropriate?
I think it was appropriate. I think from both parties. I see it from both parties. I think they were both fine. I see Debo going to him like, yo, man, you got to get the job done. And
Which that I get.
Yeah.
But the whole
the punch thing was not. The mush wasn't. And I thought about that. And I was like, okay, Tabor Pepper clapped back at him, which he should have. And I'm happy he did. Right? If you're going to hold my guy accountable, you go hold your guys accountable too. Because y'all ain't doing the job y'all supposed to do. So I like that. Debo obviously didn't, took offense to it and threw the whole mush, punch, whatever he tried to do. That was foul. I didn't like that part. It's like, dude, if you're going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it too. Right? Like, come on. Like, we're all in this together. If you can tell me to do my job, I can tell you to do your job too. Like, we all got to go out here and execute. So that's the part I didn't like.
Becca?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I see things getting heated, and it's football. And if you listen to any of the OGs that were champions, they talk about their sideline culture as you better pull your weight, you better do your job, or someone's going to tell you you messed up and you're going to find out about it the hard way. You're going to be in the find out phase, right? And that's exactly what I think you saw. Debo getting frustrated. How many of these are going to miss? Lock in and get your together. Because, the rest of us are out here playing. We have to win these games. The window is getting tighter and tighter mathematically to really get to the playoffs unless we win the division. So, we have every game matters. Everything counts. So I see Debo's side of it. Like, he's mad and frustrated. I see Tabor's side too. Like, don't come over here throwing punches. Like, it's one thing to pull somebody aside and say something, but the whole lock in. That's right.
No,
but the punch, I don't think it was necessary. But also, it's football. These guys are beating each other up. Their adrenaline's up. That's what they do all day is hit each other. So, to me, it wasn't a surprise that he threw a punch in his face.
I don't know. The whole, I get, going up to your teammate, but the whole punching thing is kind of where I draw the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Like, you obviously can see that whatever Tabor Pepper said, now I probably know what he said. Debo took offense to it, like, oh snap, and he probably wasn't even expecting him to clap back.
Right.
Yeah.
And he got him, and he hit him with that reality, and it was like, and his response was just, oh, it's like, no, dude, he was right. Go do your job. You go do your job.
Yeah. The other thing that got me was I don't like to see a chink in the armor of divisiveness in the locker room either. So that was like the thing that I hated the most about it. Like, you got to pull somebody aside in the locker room and shove him in a locker and tell him to lock in and do his job. Do it out of sight, out of mind, where no one knows. But to do it out in an open fashion, it's like, oh, here we go. The infighting's going to start, and we know how toxic that can be and how devastating. So that I didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm pretty sure that in the locker room there can be words at times.
Oh, for sure.
I would be surprised if somebody said, "Oh no, not at all." That's just not, the type of sport it is, the type of, competitiveness these guys have. Alberto, I don't necessarily agree with this.
No. Moment for what? To say something? He already said it.
Yeah,
He already proved it.
I mean, I know the fans are going to say, like, the minute Debo drops a pass, I know the fans are going to be like, well, lock in, Debo, like that's where we are at this point. Taradome says accountability is real as rain. If you want chips, lock in, it's go time.
Yeah.
There's 100%.
That's what Tabor Pepper told Debo. Hey, go out there and lock in yourself. It's go time. How about you go past the 35 at 4 drive? Do that.
Yeah, like everybody, saying like, they should take back Debo's captain patch and stuff like that. I mean, come on.
That's stupid overreaction.
Yeah.
And like they squashed it. They had their beef. They squashed it.
Yeah. To what Taradome just said in the comments, Jesse Sepulveda tweeted, "It happened during our 49er era. LOL. Not a big deal when you hold yourself to a high standard. Seahawks is up. Go Niners."
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And Debo seemed fine on his podcast too. I don't know if you guys saw his podcast.
I didn't watch it yet.
No, I didn't watch it.
He must have said 3 times about the game that hey, and our kicker went out and did his job and got the dub at the end of the game. So he's giving Jake Moody credit for getting the winning field goal. So it seemed like a nothing burger in the way he talked about it on his podcast too. So.
Yeah, and if you remember the interviews immediately after the game, they were treating it like nothing burgers. They was like heat of the moment stuff.
Yeah,
it's all right. We're good. Like there's no conversation that needs to be had. We understand. Okay, they're focused. They know what they need to do. And I'm sure they were brought together to hash out like, we can't have this going on. And they probably were like, yeah, we get it. We know. We're all right. So it's all good.
there's going to be like this type of adversity like during games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Brock Purdy has been playing lights out, I feel, but you know, against Kansas City, he really didn't, you know, have that great of a game. And you know, it happens. You know what I mean? Just like everyday life, you know, we all have bad
Yeah,
days. We all have things
exactly.
that, you know, just aren't going right, and you know, it's how you deal with it, and you got to move on. Hey, Manny.
What's going
CMC had
on?
19 touches, would lost the bet by 1.
Right.
I thought you said he would have 20 carries. Was it 20 carries or 20 touches? Either way, we did lose it by 1. Yeah.
Let's see. David McNiner. Debo has 1 red zone touchdown this season, week 1 versus the Jets. Did catch one in space versus the Sea Chickens and had a touchdown on a long play. Total 2 touchdowns on the season. Time to lock in and get some touchdowns.
Well, that's what Tabor Pepper told him. That's why he took offense. So, hey, and he was right.
I think everybody just needs to be locked in. Everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Well, if you go
so-
back to the losses, all 3 phases, we lost on all 3 phases. So all 3
Right.
need to lock in so we could go get this thing done. All right,
Right.
moving on.
Yes, moving on. We spent entirely too much time on that.
Yeah.
But that's okay. All right. So one thing I don't understand is the Lions had kind of a crappy game the other
Yep.
night. Okay. And I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this. They kind of had a crappy game. They came back, they won it. Kind of in a similar fashion as the Niners against the Buccaneers. Okay.
Yep.
But those Lions came back, grimy game. Like they found a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
But with us, it's
We
there's
escaped.
cause for concern.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sky's falling.
Yeah.
Why is it that other teams can play a gritty, grimy game and win, but the Niners can't?
Yeah.
Explain that to me, please.
Well, what are the Lions? What's their record right now? 7
6-2,
wins?
7-2.
7.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
They're leading their division. They're the top of the, you know, that they don't have as much to worry about. And, you know, they haven't been playing that way. For us, that is our MO. This is the first two wins in a row that we've had all season. So
Shit, they're 8.
we win one, we lose one. We win one, we lose one. So we're like this, and they're pretty steady, and you know, so they have a crappy game, a grimy game, and find a way to win it. That was us last year. We seem to have this fueled go get them, and the grimy ones we managed to pull out and just kept stacking wins. This year, not so much. So I think that's kind of the difference is they're doing what we did last year and we're not. And that's why ours look worse. But,
but at the same time, like last year when that happened, I didn't see people saying like, oh, you know, like, you know, giving us props last year either.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we didn't get that much crap for things. We didn't lose that many games.
True.
You know, like,
Right.
No, I see what you're
much crap.
I don't know. Maybe they hold us to a higher standard.
Yeah, because we've been in the playoffs.
You know,
so
they expect us to win, and you know, if we're not winning big, we get all the titles of, you know, the 49ers escaped. They squeaked by. They barely got out of there alive. You know, they're playing down to their competition. All that stuff. So that's got to be it. Yeah. Because, you know, we kind of won in similar fashions, right? And just look at the kicking game. Jake Moody makes the final field goal, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he barely made it." But if you look at the Lions game, the last 2 kicks they kicked, the exact same. They were all like this close to going in, right? This close to hitting the upright. But for the Lions, it's they gutted it out. For us, it's they barely got out of there. So it's just a difference. I think because this is the first season that you're expecting the Lions to win as well. The first time people were like, "Oh, they have a shot at the Super Bowl." So maybe that helps hype them up a little bit. So it's got to be it. I think people are expecting us to go out there and be dominant, and we haven't so far. So it's like, 49ers are barely getting by.
There's some truth in what Tara Dome said, that there is a standard. They're used to us winning. And you're right. Detroit is a feel-good story.
Mm-hmm.
That they're winning. They're on a winning roll. They're doing things.
Red Jet Shell, goalposts are definitely moved as far as what's expected for the Niners. I agree.
Yeah.
Manny's right. If Brock ever threw 5 interceptions, we would never hear the end of it. That's true,
about
because
it all week.
even in training camp, we never heard the end of it.
Yeah. And that was training camp.
Yeah.
We talking practice.
Forget the regular season.
Yeah, right.
Practice.
Talking practice. Yeah.
All right. So I had an awesome time in Tampa. The people were really great. The weather was hot. But it was such a great time. And the game itself was a good game. I want to talk a little bit about the defense. The defense really, anchored down. And, even though some plays I know they would like to have back, but like that 4th and 7 play from Baker Mayfield and Nick Bosa, like hanging on to him. But they allowed 215 passing yards, the lowest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was less than that. For Baker Mayfield, I thought it was less than that. 215 total, maybe. But I thought Baker only had like 107 yards passing or something.
Yeah, no, it was total.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said passing yards.
It's okay. So yeah, what did you guys think of the defense?
Go ahead, Rebecca.
A mediocre showing in my book. Nick Bosa looked gassed. He was on the run, and he had flashes of Nick Bosa, but he was not where he needed to be, and got beat several times. And we had a hard time stopping the run. It seemed like that they were just able to do a lot, running the ball and getting it out to the tight end. What's his name? Odin. Like every time I was like, again, like missed tackles. We had some of that too. I mean, Fred was everywhere. Fred was all over the place. And we still have the same penalty issues. We're getting dinged for penalties, which set them up. Just all of those things is death by 1,000 cuts. I mean, they did enough. The passing game, I think the passing game was where we saw the flashes of brilliance. They went after Green because he was in for Ward. And you saw them just pop, take shots at him because he's the rookie. And they really didn't test Lenore much at all on his side of the field. But they did go after Green, and I thought Green played really, really well. I thought he played a really good game. So against the pass, they seemed to do well. It seemed like we struggled against the run. For all the pressure, we ended up with 2 sacks on Baker Mayfield. I don't know. It just, to me, it was a middle of the road game. It's not as good as we would like to see out of the defense.
Yeah, some of those penalties, though, they were kind of questionable at the end.
Yeah.
Like the one where, they got Fred Warner.
The whatever.
I mean, he was clearly like held.
Yeah.
I mean, but, the fact that the defense really, after all that, it seems like it was just like pretty much spiraling, and they just they held them.
They,
That says a lot. I mean, but people are still calling for Robert Saleh, to come and join us.
right. Would be
He's in
nice.
Green Bay. Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, let it go.
He made his choice.
Yep. I
But
thought
yeah,
the defense.
I think the defense played pretty well.
Go ahead.
You know, considering, like the penalties and just everything, like from what I saw, I thought they played pretty well. The pass rush, I wish was a little bit better. Leonard Floyd really isn't doing too much. That interior, I think Gross Matos might be back this week. Hopefully he can help a bit. Ty, what do you think?
I thought the defense played very well. They held them to 13 points. I don't count the muff punt touchdown. To me, that's on the special teams. You give them the ball that deep. I mean, there's only so much their defense can do there. But when they had to drive the length of the field, only held them to 13. I thought that was phenomenal. Whenever you can hold the team, to the teens, you're doing a pretty darn good job. Some things I didn't like is that they played too loose, and that contributed to some of the passing yards and some of the things we saw. Like Baker was just dinking and dunking the whole game. They have no receivers. So it's like, all right, we're just going to get it out my hands and, get whatever we can get. And for some reason, we were playing back loose the whole time. I don't get it. Like, that's one of those things Sorensen has to adjust to. Like, you got to step it up, get closer, place more man, do some things. The pass rush was non-existent. Nick Bosa, we know, had a non-existent game. I don't know what to say. Like, I understand at the beginning of the game, he went up against Tristan Wirth. That's like a battle, heavyweight battle right there. That's good on good. That's what you want to see. But when Wirth went out and our old buddy Justin School came in, I was like, oh, we're about to feast. It's going to be a Nick Bosa 5-sack day.
Mm-hmm.
And not so much.
He had his hands full.
It never happened. Yeah, Justin School was giving them some business.
Yeah.
And they still double teamed him and everything. I get that. I'm not taking that away. But when he had his one-on-ones, he didn't flash until the fourth. And like as Terradome said, yeah, I thought Nick Bosa was going to take him to school. I'm like, oh yeah. But it was the other way around. It was the other way around. And I'm like, yeesh. So I understand he's dealing with a hip. But when he got that sack and he did the Trump dance, the hip wasn't bothering him then. So let's put that out there. Got to put that out there. So, yeah, but other guys on the line, I think, need to step up too, because we can't be a one-man wrecking team on the pass rush. It's got to be everybody. It's got to be a collective. So guys need to do their job. So I thought at the end of the game, we were just on the field too much. The defense started to get a little worn down, and that's why we gave up some rushing yards and such. And they rotated the line heavily. If you go back and rewatch the game, like at the start of the drive, it would be one set of defensive linemen. Then at the second part of the drive, it'd be at a whole different set. I think that maybe threw things off in the front. But overall, they still played well. They still buckled down in that last drive, held them to a field goal. Remember, that was a short field. They held them to a field goal. That's a win. That was a win. And Sorensen actually changed. Instead of playing that loose far back zone, he went more man and tightened things up so that they couldn't dink and duck up the field. So that helped tremendously. It was like, I hope he starts making those adjustments earlier in the game. So, overall, though, some positives. I thought they played well, and hopefully that continues this week versus Seattle.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about the Seattle matchup. On offense, our red zone issues were still there. But it was CMC's first game back. I think we'll get to where we need to be. Wasn't terrible, but you can tell that we still have our issues. What did you guys think, Becca?
Yeah, I would agree. What I did like is with CMC back, you saw a lot of ball distribution to a lot of people. Everybody got their hands on it. And so, I mean, that's when we play our best football to me, offensively anyway, is when Juwan Jennings gets it and you've got CMC and Debo and Kittle and everybody getting shots on the ball. And, I think that just helps give us options of plays to run and things to do and makes our offense almost unstoppable. And, we played really well until we got to the red zone. And it's just like everybody, I don't know, went and took a break or something, forgot that they still had to score. So I'm not sure what the root cause of the red zone issues are, but we seem to move the ball well and we're moving it, down the field to me pretty well all throughout the game. Look how many times we got down there. We punted once. We moved the ball super well, punted one time in that game, and that was it. So the red zone stuff is really problematic, and we have to fix that if we think we're going anywhere, in playoff. And CMC looked tired. He looked a little gassed, not gonna lie. A few times they
First game
had the camera on him. He was like, I forgot how hard this game is.
Which is to be expected. First game back,
Yeah.
But I thought he looked okay.
Yeah.
The play where Brock just kind of moonballed it up there and it just kind of got him right in stride and right. That was a really nice play.
Let him run under it. Yep.
It's good to see that. Ty?
I'm disappointed in the offense. That is not what I wanted to see. Coming out of a bye, you're getting your number one weapon back. You can only score 2 touchdowns. That ain't it. That ain't it. Brock started off the game throwing medicine balls. He settled down in the second half, thank goodness, but that ain't it. Kyle putting Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero on the shelf.
Yeah.
That ain't it.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
That ain't it. I understand CMC is that dude and he opens up so much. But let them young guys pound the rock. Wear down that defense. They haven't been stopping the run so much. Come on. Use your weapons. Their weapons. They got you here. Use them.
They did do a nice job of shutting down our run game, though.
I understand that they were there. That was their number one thing.
Take away the run. One target is take away the run from us. Yeah.
And I get that, but to not use those young guys at all. Yeah. I mean, they had 3 snaps apiece. Yeah. 3.
And those were late, right? Like in the second half.
Yeah. And I knew, and my greatest fear going into the game is that the offense would look stagnant and Kyle would do his panic thing and be like, it's CMC all the way, baby. I ain't taking him off the field. And that's exactly what happened. He had to take himself off the field. That's exactly what happened. But yeah, other than some great plays by the receivers, and they played, them dudes played out of their mind. The Yak Bros was back. It was beautiful to see. Yes, beautiful. They made some great catches, some great runs after the catches. It was beautiful. But overall, they got to get it together. This let's just get to the 35-yard line and call it a day crap. That ain't it. That is not it.
What I will say about the offense are 2 words. George Kittle.
I knew you were going to say that.
Wait, hold on. I wanted to give you your props.
Because I do not mention him on purpose.
Yeah, last week your X factor was George Kittle, and man, he was the man, as we know. But go ahead.
7 touchdowns in 7 games. He was awesome. I only wish that we could find somebody who can block like he can so we can let him go as often as possible, because right now he's number 1 out there. But from what I saw, like he's playing at an all-time elite level, as he has been. But this
Mm-hmm.
year, and they someone asked Fred Warner about him, George Kittle being 31, and Fred Warner said that he's aged just like fine wine, and that, but he's playing phenomenal, and at this point in his career. And like I always say, good things happen when the ball's in George Kittle's hands, and it
Yep.
is so true. But what did your thoughts on George Kittle, Becca? From what
Well,
you
I
saw.
mean, he's the Swiss Army knife. He can do everything. He blocks well. He catches well. The run yards after the catch. He just does everything you ask of him and more. Like you can just catch the ball, or you can catch and run. And Kittle's doing. He never stops. He's got just, I don't know, an attitude, a mentality, whatever it is, for the way he plays football that is contagious. You see all of those guys come in. Saubert made a great block for Ricky Pearsall. So I think, that's contagious. If you're in that tight end room, you better be able to lay down a block, and you better do it right, or you're going to hear about it. And so, these guys, I think that energy is infectious. That's why when I said earlier about the Debo thing, is you hope that's not a fracture in the culture in the locker room, because the flip side of that is they feed off of each other, and they feed off of all the good things that each other does and that energy. And so hopefully, he continues to do what he does for a long time for us. He's that dude.
I believe Tom Brady said on the broadcast that the Purdy Kittle connection reminded him of him and Gronk.
Yeah.
Which is kind of huge praise. But Ty, your thoughts?
Kittle's that dude. We talk about it here often, right? Like, give George Kittle his dedicated targets. We're on this play. He's the dude. He's the man. We're going to him. And we see what happens. Like that short play action dump off he got. But he was like, nope, I'm not going out of bounds. I'm cutting it back upfield, get more yak. And it took 4 guys to bring him down. That's George Kittle. That's George Kittle. Just get the ball in his hands, let him go to work. So he's the best tight end in the league. I don't care what anyone says. Like, we know it. We see it. He doesn't have to be hyped up. His play speaks for itself. And I got to talk about the touchdown, because he worked his ass off on that touchdown play. And people are not recognizing that enough. He comes out on initial read. It's not there. He breaks off and gets open.
Yeah.
But it's not there, right? Doesn't get the ball. Brock starts to scramble. He does a phenomenal spin move. And for a guy 6'5", weighing 240, that is some great footwork and balance by him. Gets open again. Goes up, makes a catch, secures the ball, gets the feet down, goes to the ground with it, touchdown. That is like all pro elite stuff. And it's not being talked about enough. And that's why we talk about it on the show. In the red zone, like, he should be a number 1 target in the red zone, because you can see what he can do, what he brings to the table. It was just great. And I'm hoping, like, we just call his number more often, because he's that guy. He can make great things happen for us. So you can't say enough of good things about George Kittle. George, come on the show. We'll say great things about you then.
We'll say good things to your face.
Yes. Those of you just joining us, welcome. We are talking some George Kittle. Surprising. But yeah, Tony G said Purdy really made some nice throws this game. Kid is a competitor. Yeah, he did. Like Ty said, early on, he was throwing some, medicine balls. But then as the game went on, he adjusted pretty well. What do you guys think? Becca?
Yeah, I mean, I think his passing was going pretty well. I think even the GOAT said, boy, that's a sneaky 300 yards that Brock Purdy's had already in the game. So, a little surprised at that, but there were some really pretty long balls that he laid up there that receivers took and had their way with. So, I think Brock is playing at a really, really good level. And even Debo on his podcast, he said, he was on the plane, he walked past him and he was looking a little annoyed or frustrated or something. So we stopped to talk to him and he goes, I got to be better. I got to make these throws. I can't miss this and I can't miss that. So he's continuing to internalize all of these little ticky-tacky things that he does wrong. And he's, he cares. He wants to do better. And anybody who wants to invest the time and the energy to be better generally gets better. So you can't hate the guy. He's playing a great, a game of football and trying to improve year over year. So, hey, I'm a fan.
Yeah, that's what I love about him. He knows, like he takes accountability.
Mm-hmm.
He knows when his play is off. He knows when he's not throwing passes accurately, when he's throwing behind people and such. He knows and he acknowledges it. And he tells his receivers, my bad. Yeah. That was on me. I got to get you a better ball. That's what you want from your leader. So I ain't got no problems with him continuing to develop and get better and rise to be the great player that he's going to be, because he's only getting better, because he's challenging himself to get better. In that first half, he was off. Even though the passes were there, receivers adjusted to it and made great plays. But in the second half, he made some great throws. That jump throw he hit Debo with when he was crossing the middle, man, if that was Mahomes, they'd be replaying that right now on every station in America. And probably outside of America too. Exactly. Like, that was a great throw. Like, that was just a great play by him. And that's what you need from like your stars to do sometimes, right? Just step up and make a play. And he does that. We see him do that weekly. So I'm just loving him. I'm loving the competitive fight in him. Even when things are up and down, he doesn't get down on himself and continues to fight and rises to the occasion when he needs to. Mm-hmm. And that's the huge thing. Like, because on that last drive, every pass was on point. It was bink, bink, bink. And I understand there wasn't long passes downfield and all that good stuff, but they was right where they need to be and on time and in rhythm. That's stepping up to the occasion. So, hats off to Brock. He's only going to get better. And I'm hoping on Sunday it's a whole lot better, because the fucking Seahawks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with this from Red Jet Shell. One thing Brock doesn't do is give up.
Exactly.
That's right.
And yes, as fans of this team, we have been dying to have someone with that never quit mentality. It's been a long time since we can say that we have our franchise quarterback. So for Brock to be that guy, he's a special kid. He really is. But yeah, Ty, you're right. Sunday, he needs to be better. It's the Seahawks, must-win game. Every game from here on out is a must-win game. The schedule does not get any easier. It's Seattle, Green Bay, Buffalo, the next three.
Miami's in there too somewhere afterwards.
Yeah, Miami's towards the end of December. The Lions, Arizona's the last game. Must win games from here on out. Game balls. Ty, go ahead.
I'm going to give one to my X Factor from last week. That was Ricky Pearsall. I thought he played an excellent game. I talked about George's touchdown. His touchdown was equivalently great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from having to put on the air brakes, turn his body, catch the ball from behind him, it was back shouldered. That's phenomenal right there. And then to maintain his balance, land on his feet, keep the momentum going, run downfield, hit the DB with a little hezzy, and reach for the end zone. Yeah, reach for the end zone. I mean, that's a great play. That's what you want. Like that's yak bro material out there. And he was still out there running his routes, getting open, showed great sure hands. I mean, the last pass he caught on that like 10-yard, 15-yard route, that's the exact same play we ran for Ronnie Bell in the Rams game earlier this year, and Bell dropped it. So it was like, oh,
Shocker.
a sure-handed receiver. Yes. You know, but a huge play in the clutch. Once again, remember that was the last drive. Clocks are ticking, blah, blah, blah. So I thought he played a great game. So I got to give him a game ball. I got to give a game ball on the defensive side to Diamador Lenore, because he was in there being a little wrecking ball and doing just all the good things that he does, not only in the pass, but in the run. He made that great play where he took on the blocker and just fought through him and then blew up the ball carrier. I mean, that's like a linebacker. It's just good stuff. It's just good stuff. I can't help it. So those would be my two guys to get a game ball.
I love that commentary. That's hilarious.
I am going to give a game ball to
Can't
my
trust
X
number 10 with a
Factor
smile.
from last week.
Oh, yeah.
George Kittle.
Aha.
For obvious reasons. But he is actually the only one I'm giving a game ball to. Becca, what about you?
Well, Ty took mine. Those were my two game balls as well.
Oh.
So I will, I'll pivot and I will say Juwan Jennings. JJ is back, and he, he played lights out too. Great catches, great catch and run, all the yak. He's a fighter too. He's a scrappy boy, and I love JJ out on the field. So I'll give a game ball to JJ. And on the defensive side, I'm going to give one to Green. They took shots at him right away, and he stood up and played a really solid game for the rookie. So shouts to the rook.
Yeah. I'm glad we got all the receivers. Right, real quick, I'm glad we got all the receivers in there, because they did show up 178 yards of yak on the day, which means they were getting upfield, fighting for yards, trying to make it happen. That's what we want to see again.
Exactly.
Let's get the yak bros out there doing their thing. So kudos to them.
The silent game ball should go to CMC, because he creates all of that just being on the field. So
I was just going to say, with CMC back, it just makes it, that much easier.
And he had his yak as well with his 6 catches or whatever it was. So, yeah.
All right. So a couple shows now, we've talked a lot about the rookies, more so than we ever have. Because usually when we draft rookies, they're not playing.
Yep.
They're in the freezer for a year.
Yeah, like we're saving them for the future, something like that. This year, the rookies have stepped up. They have the experience from playing college ball. What this week stepped up in?
Oh, you froze on my end. Did she froze for you too?
On mine too. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, it's not me.
Yeah. I think she said, what rookie stepped up this week?
We heard
still a little choppy.
Yeah, you're still choppy.
That's what I said.
No.
Yeah, what rookie stepped up this week and played well?
Up, you froze,
Go ahead,
bros.
Becca. Yeah. We can chat until she comes back.
Wait,
How
so
about that?
the rookies that I mean, I thought Green was like, to me, he's the one that I was concerned him being in there, having to play in place of Ward. So, but I thought he played a great game. So that's my guy if we're talking which rookie. And Pearsall, you mentioned Pearsall too. I thought you nailed it. Sure-handed. He looked like he's I don't know, been in the league for years. He just played well. He didn't seem like he misread a route. He didn't miss anything. He just was there whenever his number was called and played an amazing game. And especially given what happened to him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Green has been
back or
starting.
no?
Your audio's back.
I can
That
hear
video.
you, but your video's
there you
frozen.
go. Yeah. It's a little choppy. You're coming in at like 480 right now, not 720. It's weird.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat mentioned Pooney. Pooney's been playing like he's been playing for a
since
long
day
time.
one, right?
Yeah.
Since day one. I thought he did have a good game, because they did run a lot of stunts in there, and he handled it. And he had to go up against Vita Vea sometimes, and he's a handful. He's just a beast. And he held up well overall.
He was good against the run too. It seemed like he was always in on the stop.
Yeah. So Ricky did his thing. I thought Malik Mustafa played a solid game.
He came up too.
Yeah, he came up and was a force on the run a few times and did some things. Yeah, I was just hoping to see a little bit more Garendo, a little more Cowing. I like them a lot. Yeah, I like them a lot. I know, right? She'll come back. She'll be back, folks. Don't worry. Yeah, I like them a lot, though. So I was hoping to see a little bit more of them in the game, and let's keep those rookies in there and keep them in flux. And I got to mention that big Evan Anderson. I'm a big fan of that big guy in the middle, and he was a plugger, and they called him for like a BS penalty, I think a few plays earlier on that last drive. And then he comes up big, just blows up the offensive lineman and makes a huge stop on the running back. That was huge. I mean, just that one play alone to stop the drive shows he's got good potential, and I like him in there. I like him in the rotation, so I got to give him a shout out as well.
Are you back?
She's somewhat back.
First has moved to Jeff this week.
I know. You need Matt to mail you that internet cable, that Ethernet cable.
He forgot to send you the cord, right?
Yeah, yeah. You use the cord. It's weird because at some points the video is good, but the audio is off. Then the audio will be good, but the video is off. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing. Maddie's internet here in spirit. Look at that. You're still choppy. You're still choppy.
Maddie's internet is here in spirit. Yes.
Spirit, yep.
Factors.
We ain't hear a word you said. You got to put it in the chat.
I got X Factor, and I'm not sure if that was for the Seattle game. Are we talking Seattle now?
Yeah. Where are we? You may need to fully restart and come back because it is really choppy.
Yeah. Yeah, but if we're going to move to Seattle and talk X Factors, then
well, Steve-O heard you. X Factors in Seattle.
Yeah, I think so. For me, my X Factors are going to be Green if he's still playing for Ward, and CMC. The run game and the running game in general. I think that's going to be Seattle's terrible at stopping the run. They haven't played the run well all year, and they've got a full arsenal of wide receivers. So Gino's going to be looking to pass, but they got to get after Gino and keep him off his off his game too. So those are my X factors. The pass rush, our rookie out there on the outside, and CMC.
Yeah. Yeah, Kittle and Debo have normally been Seattle killers.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm just looking for them to keep going. Like keep
do
that
what they
going.
do.
Exactly. Like keep that party going. Go out there and kill Seattle. Score touchdowns, make big plays. They can't handle you. Keep that going.
I was saving Kittle for Jess because
yeah.
we all know that they don't do well with George Kittle in Seattle and Debo. Debo has his way. So I think it's more of the same.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the offensive line because I do think we do need to pound the rock on them.
Yeah,
like and gash them. Like
exactly,
they couldn't stop us the first game. Like let's keep that going. They haven't been able to stop it. Let's continue to pound the rock on them. Like use clock, get it going. Oh, you look nice and crispy and clear now, Jess.
All right, I'm back.
Woo!
She's back, baby.
Woo!
Party.
All right, so yeah, I did say X factors. I don't know. Is that what you guys are talking about?
We did, yeah.
X factors in Seattle, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think as far as X factors go, this offense definitely has to be on point. Has to be better. It'll be CMC's second game back. And you know what? It's Seattle. Seattle's down right now. We have to take advantage. I can't say enough. Like, I know some people think like, oh, from, week 3, whatever it was, it's must win division game against Seattle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Gino leads the league in interceptions too. So we'd like to see the defense have a good time up there. Yeah.
Like just like in years past, Gino has been regressing in second halves of seasons. So like, let's take advantage of that regression, right? He wants to throw picks and turn the ball over and play bad football. Okay, defense, let's hunt. Let's get after him.
Have at it. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw, like, when you get close to him, even just get pressure on him, he starts to get rattled and such. So that D line needs to continue to ramp it up and get after him.
That's fact.
And I think they can get some pressure on him. So, like, let's make Gino get happy feet, get scary, and get some picks. Like, our defense's secondary is opportunistic. Like, and I'm counting like Fred in there too, because we know he can pick y'all off. So, like, let's do it. Let's dominate. Let's have a dominant game.
Home.
Yo, Holmes. Yeah, Seattle has lost.
Yeah.
Yep, you're chopping up again.
Chopping up.
They've lost 5 of the last 6. Like, come on. Let's do it.
And we're 17-2 after the bye under Shanahan, something like that. I saw
some wild record.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like post bye, we usually start to get our act together and steamroll. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna be a little slower at that. I don't see us slugging it like that, but we can't afford to lose too many for sure.
We got to get Jess a whiteboard so she could just hold up her sign. And just hold up the question, X Factor.
Well,
play the game.
And again.
Score prediction. Like,
I'm just so glad it happens to her too. So
I know. I see like we've all got it now, right? It's not she's not immune to it.
Exactly. So, I'm like, they probably don't believe that this is happening, but it does. And so now, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there.
What would a show be without a little internet hiccups?
A little internet issue.
A little internet.
All right. Let's go to that 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning. And go.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but
we can hear
go
you.
Niners. Let's get this dub. And we will see you next week.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Welcome back, CMC. We want to see more and more of you doing what you do, because boy, does it open up the playbook, the golden goose for the offense. Congrats to Demo on his contract. We love having you stay with us for the 5 years foreseeable future. Congrats to Ricky on his first NFL touchdown, and special teams. Come on, man. Lock in. So I say we got to lock in and keep winning, or the playoff picture gets pretty grim. So go Niners, and let's keep this roll going.
Yeah, let's keep going, and let's stay faithful, everybody. Let's keep it positive. You know, Jake Moody missed 3 field goals, but he also made 3, including the game winner.
Yes.
So let's keep that into perspective, right? The same way Brock stepped up on the last drive and everyone else made it happen, he was also a part of that. It's a team effort. So let's lock in as a total team and go out there and continue to string games together. We got our first 2-game winning streak. Let's get on to a 3-game winning streak. Go Niners. Yep.
Lock in, special teams. Let's go. See you next week.
She was clear as day right there. You notice that?
I heard every word of that.
The video was smooth, everything.
Hey, she's back.
Yeah, right. Now it's, oh my God, I can't.
She's back.
Sorry
and
about
now
that.
we're out. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I took the place of Maddie tonight. So he's definitely going to hear about it.
And thank you to Faithful Gear. Shout out to them too.
Yes. Faithful Gear, you guys rock. And we'll see you next week. Just do your job, guys. Let's go. Lock in. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.